Hi and welcome back to Cameron's Country. In today's video I thought I would go over some of the history and style behind the cravat. The cravat, also known as the ascot, is simply put a piece of cloth worn around the neck, either under the shirt or under the collar in a similar fashion to the tie, depending on the style that you're going with. It's got some fantastic history that goes right back through the centuries to the 1600s, when it was originally worn by Croatian mercenaries in the service of Louis XIV for France, known as the Sun King. These mercenaries wore cravats, and the French people were quite impressed by the style, so they decided to emulate it. The style worked its way up to the French court, becoming part of high fashion. Now, this period was very soon after the English Civil War, which was around the 1640s, 1650s, and the King of England, Charles II, had been sent into exile. He had actually gone to the French court whilst in exile. He picked up the cravat style whilst he was there, and he brought it back to England, and then hence it became fashionable in England as well. The level of flamboyantness of the cravat sort of rose and fell during that time. There were times when it was extremely kind of over the top with lots of lace tied in a big bow, but later on it became more subtle, the likes of sort of Beau Brummel and the Great Male Renunciation, which was a time where men's fashion became much more sort of understated and simplified, perhaps not by our modern standards, when it would still be seen as sort of very formal and over the top. But by the standards of that time, if you think about the Georgian era with the wigs and the powder and the bright colours compared to that era, this was during the Regency, so early 1800s style became much more simple, and as did the cravat. Over time, the cravat was sort of joined by the tie and the bow tie as the staple for men's neckwear, although one place it did remain very prevalent was the ascot horse race. It was worn in the very formal royal enclosure, became sort of part of the uniform of that event, and hence it's also known as the ascot tie right up to this day. And it's also worn as part of that morning wear style, which is also worn sometimes to weddings as well. If you're not visiting the ascot races or maybe a wedding, anything that requires that kind of formal morning wear, should you wear a cravat? Well, I think that's entirely up to you, whether you think it fits your style, whether you're comfortable with it, whether you feel that it is, I guess, just part of how you like to express yourself. I enjoy wearing one occasionally. I don't wear them all the time, but I do like to throw them in once in a while, especially in the colder weather, as it does help to keep your neck warm. And personally, I think it's a bit more comfortable than a tie, a bit more relaxed than a tie. And if you do like to sort of stand out a bit, it's unlikely there'll be too many other people wearing them. So it's a great way of, I guess, just standing out from the crowd in a way. It also can be often a lot more fun than a tie. You can throw in some really lovely colours and patterns, and you can go with something bold or something subtle that more complements your outfit, especially if you're wearing maybe a more formal outfit with a nice pocket square. You can get some really nice combinations going. Some things to consider with the cravat are the material. I think this depends a lot on the temperature and on how it will feel against your skin. Preferably, I would recommend going with either a cotton or a silk cravat. Cotton is good in the warmer climates as it's a slightly more breathable fabric, whereas silk is more dense and it's a bit warmer. So if you want to go for a winter style or a summer style, then those are two fantastic options. There are plenty of cheap ones you can buy online. I've seen some on Amazon for only sort of maybe £5 to £10, and I have got some of those cheaper ones in the past. They do look quite good and they're perfectly functional, although they tend to be made of polyester or other synthetic fibres. There's nothing wrong with these per se, but they do tend to be less breathable. So if you are wearing them when it's hot or wearing them indoors, you might get a bit hot and a bit sweaty. What you can do, if you do want to avoid any rubbing at all from sort of a fabric that's less comfortable, is you can wear an undershirt underneath, which is what I'm wearing now. You can't see it at all, but it just helps keep the outfit more comfortable, and it's a brilliant additional layer, both when it's colder, but also to protect your dress shirt from getting any sweat on it when it is hotter, and will save you on potentially having to hand wash your dress shirts. You can just put the undershirt in the wash instead. In terms of buying a cravat, you will be able to find them in most menswear shops, although they can be quite expensive. Like I said, those ones online aren't very expensive at all, but the quality is not fantastic, and they're not necessarily made in the UK. You don't know what the sort of manufacturing quality is like, or sort of the conditions of the factory and that kind of thing. So if you do want to get something that's both affordable and also made to a high quality, I would highly recommend purchasing some of your own fabric and making a cravat of your own. I made the one I'm wearing right now, and the whole process I find takes an hour to 2 hours, depending on your sort of level of experience and the sort of quality of the finish you want to provide. This means you can have just about any style you want, as long as you can find the fabric. You can fit it to your particular sizing, make it to your chosen style. And I think there is something special about wearing something that you've made. If anyone ever does compliment it, you can say, thank you, I actually made this myself. And even if you're not telling anyone about it, I think it's a good feeling just to know that you're the only person in the world who has that particular item. I personally like the kind of eccentric element that comes with a cravat. It certainly does bring to mind those kind of classic Victorian eccentrics. And I think that's a very, I guess, quintessentially British thing that other people might think of. It's a great way to add both more of a sort of English gentleman style as well as an English country style if you go with patterns such as a pheasant pattern, which I also have, which I might show in some upcoming videos as well. And with those kind of things, it's a great way just to put a bit of your own personal identity into your outfit. In terms of combinations and sort of how to incorporate a cravat into your outfit, first thing to consider is the colour. Is it going to meld well with the other colours you're wearing? Is it going to match your shirt or your pocket square? One tip I would suggest is if you're going for a patterned cravat, a plain shirt will look best. If you have two patterns, it might look a bit busy. I think the waistcoat goes really well over a cravat because it helps create a sort of a frame, which is really nice. You can wear them with just a jacket as well, but I think having it with the waistcoat underneath as well just creates a really nice figure. I really like the look, and it's very traditional. And although it can be sort of modern, everything I'm wearing is, I guess, of a modern cut, it does hark back to those sort of origins of gent style in the Regency with the likes of Beau Brummel that I mentioned earlier. If you'd like to know any more about the cravat, let me know any questions you have down below. I'm thinking of including this as the first in the series on gents accessories, so let me know what others you'd like me to discuss in the future. I'm thinking of potentially talking about cufflinks in more depth, a bit of history behind those and how to style, maybe watches, especially field watches for the outdoors English country gent. And also, just to mention to my subscribers that I missed the video last week, but I'm going to be trying my best to stick to videos every Thursday for the weeks going ahead. I'm looking forward to filming some outdoor videos very soon, since the weather here in England is really brightening up and we've got longer days now as well. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed, please do consider subscribing, and I will see you very soon. Bye for now.